Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, tonight we will commence the Tafseer of Surah At-Takwir. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا الشمس كورت. My noble audience, there are a few fine details to be discussed before we commence the tafsir of the first ayah of Surah At-Takwir. Now, Surah At-Takwir is a Makki surah, and we have made mention in the past that most of the surahs of the glorious Quran are Makki surahs. The shorter surahs in the Quran are Makki. The lengthy surahs are Madani. Reason being is that in Madinatul Munawwara, Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam found himself in a environment that was conducive to injunctions. In Makkatul Mukarramah, the Muslims were suppressed, and it was not the right time to receive injunctions because the body, the emotional state of the Sahaba would not allow them to fulfill injunctions. But in Madinatul Munawwara, the stress levels had dropped. The environment was conducive. So most of the lengthy surahs that contain injunctions were received by Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam in Madinatul Munawwara. Now Surah At-Takwir is a Makki surah. Now the problem that people were facing in Makkah were multiple. But one of the main problems, spiritual problem, that the people of Makkah were facing, that were not allowing them to accept the truth, was the denial in the last day. The denial in the day of requital. So if we study the Makki surahs, we will come to know that Allah in different styles discusses the impact of the trumpet when blown the first time, and the impact of the trumpet when it is blown the second time. Now, we will split the first half of Surah At-Takwir into two segments. So from verse number 1 to verse number 6, verse number 1 to verse number 6, Allah Almighty makes mention of 6 happenings that are related to the trumpet that is blown for the first time. So there are going to be certain happenings that will take place after the trumpet is blown the first time. So from verse number 1 to verse number 6, 6 happenings have been discussed, highlighted, and all these happenings will take place after the trumpet is blown for the first time. Then from verse number 7 to verse number 13, Allah Almighty makes mention of 6 further happenings, but these 6 happenings will take place after the trumpet is blown for the second time. Because there are 12 happenings in total that have been highlighted in this surah, and only in the first half of this surah, Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said, and the hadith has been recorded by Imam Tirmidhi, "Man sarrahu ay yanzura ila yawm al-qiyamah ka'annahu ra'ya 'aynin falyaqra' Surah At-Takwir." Now this is an amazing and a profound statement. Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, if anyone wants to see how this world will come to an end, and how people will come back to life again, they should look at the event through Surah At-Takwir. So if they study Surah At-Takwir attentively and carefully, they will see with their eyes how Allah will bring this world to an end, and how Allah will bring humanity and makhluqat back to life again. So this gives us a very deep, profound understanding of Qiyamah and the day of requital. So I say to my noble audience that whenever they study Surah At-Takwir, and we made mention in the past that we should try to read the Quran early in the morning with translation. So if you are spending 15 or 20 minutes for your recital and you are covering 4 or 5 pages, reduce that to 2 pages and spend half the time in the translation. Because studying the Quran with understanding has a very different impact upon the mind and upon the heart. I am not saying at any level that the recital of Quran does not have an impact. But recital with the understanding of Quran has a greater impact. And we may mention the ahadith in the Sihah Sitta that Nabi Kareem said that if you learn 1 verse, what is the reward? Now this is learning a verse without understanding. The reward is equivalent to 100 units of salah. 100 units of salah. But if you learn 1 ayat with understanding, the reward is equivalent to 1,000 units of salah. The reason why it has been inflated, the reward from 100 to 1,000, is because you are understanding what Allah is saying. And that will allow you to take that positive, productive step. That step that will bring a change in your life. So we will try to study this surah with the narrative in our mind, and the narrative is Man sarrahu an yanzura ila yawm al-qiyamah, that if you want to see qiyamah whilst you are living in this world, then falyaqra Surah At-Takwir, then recite Surah At-Takwir. That is how we are going to study this surah. Now the first ayat, and from ayat number 1 to ayat number 6 happenings relating to what? The blowing of the trumpet the first time. Now we have understood from the glorious Quran in multiple places, and we have understood from the different narratives that the trumpet is going to be blown twice. We understand that. And the angel that has been deputed to blow the trumpet is exactly the same the first and the second time. So the angel does not change. Indeed, between the blowing for the first time and the second time, there is a understanding amongst the Sahaba in the light of the hadith reported by Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala an, and then theologians that followed, that the time period between the first blow and the second blow of the bugle is 40 years. It is 40 years. Now, when the trumpet is blown the first time, indeed, according to the statement of Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "La taqumu as-sa'a illa ala shirari nas," there will be no believer alive, because that blowing of the trumpet is a adab. The blowing of the trumpet the second time is not adab. It may be adab for some, but it will be a blessing in disguise for others. But the blowing of the trumpet the first time is adab. It is a punishment. And that's why no believer will live to see that adab or to experience that adab. La taqumu as-sa'a illa ala shirari nas. Only people that will witness that blow of the trumpet the first time will be the most wicked people. Shirari nas, the most wicked people. Now, the impact. إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ, when the sun kuwirat. Now, what does kuwirat basically mean? The folding. Now I ask you that, how do you think that physically Allah will fold the sun? Now, if I say that this is a mobile phone, now the function is when it is open and I can operate upon it. True? I can operate. Let's say a computer. The computer has to be open for me to operate upon it. And if you close it, if you fold it, I can't operate upon it. Meaning that I cannot function the computer. So إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ basically means the function of the sun will be taken away. And what is the function of the sun? To give light. The function of the sun is to give light. So if Allah is going to fold the sun, it means that it will lose its light. It will lose its light. There will be no light. And just depict for a split moment that if a person looks up and he finds the sun, and then suddenly the sun loses its light, what is the first impact upon the world? Darkness. Darkness. And darkness in itself is a adhab. Darkness in itself is a adhab. Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when educating the Sahaba, he used to speak about the darkness of the grave. And then he used to say, if you want light in your grave, commit yourself to the nocturnal prayer, to the tahajjud prayer. So if you keep the night that is dark alive with the ibadat, Allah will allow you to lie in your grave in light. And if you do not keep your night alive with tahajjud, with dhikr, with azkar, with a'mal, the night is dark and we do not illuminate it with our a'mal, then the life in the grave will be dark. So إِذَا الشَّمْسُ كُوِّرَتْ, think about it, imagine those unlucky and unfortunate people that will experience the blow of the bugle for the first time and the light of the sun has been taken away. That immediately turns the entire domain into darkness, pitch black. It is absolutely pitch black. Number one. Number two. وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْكَدَرَتْ, and when the stars shall fall. When the stars shall fall. Now, Imam Razi in Tafseer Kabir and Alama Alusi in Ruh al-Ma'ani have said that if we look up, we find وَالسِّرَاجُ وَالشَّمْسُ سِرَاجًا, that the sun is a lamp. It gives light. And قَمَرًا مُنِيرًا, and the moon is light as well, right? It is not stronger than the sun, but both give their own light. So Imam Razi, one of the great theologians of Islam, one of the great mufassirs of the Quran, and Alama Alusi in Ruh al-Mani, they make mention that Allah will first take the light of the sun and the moon, and then will cause the sun and moon to break into pieces. And then Allah will place the sun and the moon that has broken into pieces into the ocean. So that's what's going to happen. So the sun goes and the moon goes. Now first a person will see the sun will lose its light. He will see the moon will lose its light because there's no sun there. And then what will happen is that this sun and moon will start to break into pieces. And then these pieces will be deposited in the ocean. We'll speak about what happens after that in a few moments. وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْكَدَرَتْ, and then the stars shall fall. Now the stars, of course, for us are smaller visibly than the sun and the moon. Basically, we have a solar calendar and we have a lunar calendar, and we follow the journey of the sun and we follow the journey of the moon, and they are very important for us in our daily life. So first of all, they break and they are deposited into the ocean. But in addition to that, if a person looks up, he will find many, many stars. And these stars glitter and glow, and they enhance the beauty of the sky. Basically, the day of the last hour is a manifestation of Allah's power taking away the beauty from this world. That's how I call it. What is that final hour? That beauty will be taken away from this dunya. Beauty. Allah has adorned this world with beauty. There are many, many breathtaking sights in the world that if you stand there and look, you will be blown away. You will be riveted. But on the day of judgment, or you can say that final hour, Allah will take away all this beauty, because those people do not deserve the beauty. They do not deserve to witness that beauty. And that's why Jannah is a place of immense beauty. And that has been designated and allotted for the believers that deserve to witness that beauty and enjoy that beauty. وَإِذَا النُّجُومُ انْقَدَرَتْ, and the stars will fall. Now, qadarat means ganda ho jana. Qadarat basically means for something to become dirty. So the stars will become dirty. Now, the Quran has made mention that the stars, إِنَّا زَيَّنَّا السَّمَاءَ الدُّنْيَا بِزِينَةٍ الْكَوَاكِبِ, that Allah has adorned the sky with stars. These stars are lamps. You know, you see, and it enhances the beauty. Now they say in Alice Springs, I couldn't go there, but I intend to go there. They say that there's a certain place where you can see the galaxy from there. And it is so beautiful, and you see a different color and a different construction of the stars in the sky, and it brings you closer to Allah Almighty. And there are certain places like that in the world. Now these stars will start to become dirty. They glow, but there's no glow there. This light is here to give us light. But if it stops giving light, pick it up and throw it away. So these stars, when they stop giving that light because they have become dirty, then Allah will allow these stars to fall, and they will be deposited with their brother and sister, the sun and the moon. They will be deposited with their brother and sister, the sun and the moon. So the sun and then the moon and then the stars are all deposited into the ocean. وَإِذَا الْجِبَالُ سُيِّرَتْ, and when the mountains shall made to pass away. Allahu Akbar. We have spoken about this in Surah number 78. We spoke about this in detail in the opening verses. So I'm not going to spend much more time on this ayah, but what I would like to make mention here, that many a times there are massive tremors, strong tremors, followed by a major earthquake. And you find buildings collapse, fall to the ground, reduced to ash, reduced to dust. But you see these mighty mountains, they don't leave their position. That the earthquake that brings the entire building of 120 floors comes crashing to the ground, but the mountain is still standing there. Maybe a few sections of this mountain collapse, but the mountain in itself stands. And it has experienced these tremors and earthquakes from inception till today, but it is still standing there. But think about it, that when that trumpet is blown, the profound impact is that these mountains that have been standing there, and how many insan, and how many jinns, and how many angels, and how many different makhluqat have placed their eyes on these mountains and traveled over these mountains and witnessed the beauty of these mountains. These mountains can never be moved. But then this trumpet is blown, and then these mountains, they are floating in the atmosphere like carded wool, like wool, weightless wool. They're just floating in the atmosphere. This ayat in itself gives us a very deep understanding of the impact of that blow. Furthermore, وَإِذَا الْعِشَارُ عُطِّلَتْ, and when the pregnant she-camels shall be neglected. Now, the first addressees of these ayat are the people of Makkah. Then you can say the people of the Arab Peninsula. Then the people of Roman Persia. And then later on, you and me. So the first addressees are the people of Makkah. Keep that in mind to understand why Allah made mention of the she-camel. Now, camels were a commodity, a very valuable commodity for the people of Arabia. When we were learning the different kinds of camels in the time of Nabi Kareem ﷺ, the most valuable camel used to be the red camel. Our mashayikh used to tell us the most valuable camel used to be the red camel. I don't know if they exist nowadays. Do they exist? They do exist. So even in the time of Nabi Kareem ﷺ, the red camel was very, very expensive. Very, very expensive. Now for the general population of Arabia, a pregnant she-camel was very, very valuable. that was carrying a baby for the last 10 months. Reason being is that in a few days, this she-camel will deliver another camel. This increases the progeny, the flock. And secondly, it will give a lot of milk. So they know that this camel is not barren. This camel is fertile. It will deliver many more camels, and it is going to give a lot of milk now. Now think about it. One car that can, for us, for the youngsters, one car that can travel from 1k to 100 in 20 seconds. Not too good. But then you find another car that travels to 100 k's in 5 seconds. Who are you going to polish more? You're going to polish that car that makes it to 100 k's in 5 seconds. That's going to be in the garage, locked up. The other is going to be outside, under the carport, catching dust if you don't drive it. Now, the she-camel was that one car that can make it to 100 k's in 5 seconds. It was tied inside. It was taken care of. The other family member used to be outside. They never ever used to lose sight of that she-camel. My sheikh, when he was teaching us, he said that when you go into the shopping center and you have a toddler with you, you are looking at the items, but every second you're looking where the child is. Because that child may be snatched, or the child may harm himself. So your mind is active with the child, and every second you're looking where your child is, despite looking at all the items that you're trying to buy. So these people had that attachment with this camel. They did not let it go. So much so that when I was reading the Surah of the Nabi of Allah, they said that certain people at night used to sit up from their sleep and say, where's the camel? So much attachment. So much attachment. The mother wakes up at night because of that attachment. So these people had that attachment with this camel. They never let go of it at any moment throughout this entire pregnancy, because they knew that this was a very productive animal for them. Now when that trumpet is blown, there will be no one to guard this camel. Now just think about it. For them, the camel is like our parents, our wife, and our children for us. Does it make sense? That's how it is. So when the trumpet is blown, if a person from Arabia, that is the first addressee of this ayah, can give up this camel that he has such a strong affiliation with, normal people will give up all the family members. This is the meaning of this ayah. Does it make sense? That is the meaning of the ayah. وَإِذَا الْعِشَارُ عُطِّلَتْ وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ. Allahu Akbar. And when the wild beasts shall be gathered together. Now, there are only two times when beasts and humans come together. One is when there's too much taqwa. When there's too much taqwa, the beast and the animals, they can exist together. The very famous incident that has been taken from the biography, the life of Hazrat Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahmatullah alayhi, that in his time there was a shepherd. In his time, Umar bin Abdul Aziz. So this is in the Surah of Umar bin Abdul Aziz. So in his time there was a shepherd, and he was sitting beside a well where he brought his flock of animals so they could quench their thirst. And on that well was a wolf, and both were coexisting, and no one was attacking. So the natural, the inborn instinct of the wolf is to attack the sheep. But somehow the wolf was not attacking. They were all drinking from the same fountain. Suddenly the wolf attacked. So the shepherd, he said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. So the people said, why did you say Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un? He said, according to my understanding, Umar bin Abdul Aziz has passed away. So they found out, and he was right, that Umar bin Abdul Aziz passed away at that moment. They said, how did you come to that conclusion? He said, when he was the leader, أَعْمَالُكُمْ عُمَّالُكُمْ أَعْمَالُكُمْ عُمَّالُكُمْ, your deeds will dictate who your leaders are. Your deeds will dictate. You do not choose your leaders. Your deeds choose your leaders. Remember that. In Muslim countries, we bad mouth the leaders. Blah, 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 blah. He's a chore and he's a chore and he's corrupted. A'malukum ummalukum, your deeds will choose your leaders. So the people in those days, so when Umar bin Abdul Aziz took over, indeed there was a lot of corruption. But in quick time, he had a grasp over that corruption. And things started to change and people started to become very, very muttaqi. For example, they say that Sulaiman bin Abdul Malik was one of the king's predecessors. In his time, when people used to wake up in the morning, what did they talk about? They spoke about women and they spoke about food. Because the leader, he was very, very inclined towards food. I have read in books, it was hard for me to fathom this. At one time, he could eat 300 dishes. 300 dishes he used to eat. And many women, many women. Then Walid bin Abdul Malik, he was very, very fond of construction. So when people used to wake up in the morning, the only thing they used to talk about is that who made a new building. Right? And then we all know about Hajjaj bin Yusuf. So in his time, people used to wake up in the morning and say, who was executed last night? Then when Umar bin Abdul Aziz took over, when people used to wake up in the morning, they said, who prayed the Hajjud last night? A'malukum ummalukum, your deeds will dictate who your rulers are. So he said that because of Umar bin Abdul Aziz, the wolf and the sheep could drink from the same fountain. If the wolf has attacked, that means that that personality has been taken away. That is a reflection that the taqwa of the community has dropped, and that muhabbat has dropped, and that has trickled down amongst the animals as well. And that was true, that Umar bin Abdul Aziz passed away. What does Allah Almighty say? That those إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ سَيَجْعَلُ لَهُمُ الرَّحْمَنُ وُدًّا. That if you have iman and good deeds, Allah will bless you with muhabba. If there's no muhabba in the house, and there's no muhabba in the congregation, and there's no muhabba in the city, and there's no muhabba in the country, and there's no muhabba in the Muslim world, then it's not this reason or that reason. The reason is very, very simple, that muhabba is a ni'mah, there is a problem in our life. Simple as that. So Allah Almighty says, وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ, and when the beasts shall be gathered together. One reason why people, when the beasts can come together is with humans, when there is high level of iman and taqwa. The second is when there's fear. When everyone is saying nafsi, nafsi. He's not worried that if he is standing beside a snake or standing beside a lion, because the person standing is saying nafsi, nafsi, and the snake and the lion is saying nafsi, nafsi as well. That khawf, that fear. And Allah Almighty makes mention of the letter, وَإِذَا الْوُحُوشُ حُشِرَتْ, that the beast and the scavengers and those animals that live in deserted areas, in forests and jungles, they will come to the population and the built up areas, and you will see that insan and animals all together. There will be no distinction between an insan and a lion, and an insan and a tiger, and an insan and a snake. Everyone is together. What a scene that will be. That will be amazing. And then Allah Almighty says, وَإِذَا الْبِحَارُ سُجِّرَتْ, and when the sea shall become as blazing fire or shall overflow. Now, try to understand this. The seas, the oceans, shall become as blazing fire or shall overflow. Right. There are many, many oceans in the world, but there are many, many rivers. Many rivers are sweet and many rivers are salty. So basically, how things are going to unfold is that the seas will merge. So the salty and the sweet rivers will merge. They will become one mass container of water. And then that will mix in the ocean. that will mix in the ocean. So all the waters from all the different rivers will come together and they will flow into the ocean, and that becomes one mass container of water. Then the sun, moon, stars will lose their light. Then they will break into pieces, and then they will be deposited into the ocean that has come together. That is a mixture of all the waters throughout the world. We have made mention before that this land will expand. Allah has given this land the ability to expand. It will expand. So it can accommodate the depositing of the sun and the moon. Because the question will come in your mind, the sun is much greater in size than the earth. So how can the sun be broken into pieces and deposited into the ocean? This land will expand. Allah has the ability, or Allah can condense the pieces of the sun and the moon in such a way that it can be deposited. But whatever the case may be, Allah will allow everything to come into the ocean. Now, the sun basically is hot. So when the sun and the moon and the stars are deposited into the ocean, it has been said because of the intense heat, the water will evaporate. Because of the intense heat, the water will evaporate. Once the water has evaporated, then because of the heat of the sun and the moon and the stars, there will be a fire that will be kindled. And that is Jahannam. So most of the scholars say that is Jahannam. So basically underneath, what does the Quran say? إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ, that the hypocrites will be in the lowest section of earth. And most of the scholars are of this understanding, right at the bottom is Jahannam, that is known as Asfalu Safilin. Yeah, it's called Sijjeen. That is where Jahannam is. So just think about it. This is Sijjeen. Try to follow me. 1 earth, 2 earths. How many earths are there? 7. 7 heavens, 7 earths. Allahu alladhi khalaqa sab'a samawati wa min al-ardi mithlahun. Surah 65 verse 12. So there are 12 earths, 12 heavens. So right at the bottom is Sijjeen. Most of the scholars of this understand this is where Jahannam is. And then first earth, second earth, third earth, right on the top is where all the waters will come together. Everything has been thrown in. Because of the intense heat, the water evaporates. Water evaporates. Then this heat ball is sitting right there. It will merge. Everything will crack. And it will merge with the fire below. And this is what Jahannam is. Does it make sense? Alright. We're going to conclude on that for tonight. Right? So keep in mind that in the first 6 verses, Allah makes mention of 6 happenings that are pertaining to the blowing of the trumpet for the first time. Try to study these ayat, and then inshallah next week we will discuss the following 6 happenings pertaining to the blowing of the trumpet the second time. Now just keep in mind, I'll just give you a few dates. You can put this in your notebook. Next week will be our last program. All right. So next week is the 6th of September. So on the 6th of September, same time we'll have a program. Then we will have a break. I'm going for my holidays. So we'll have a break. So there will be no program on the 13th, and most probably we can't because it will be Eid. It will be the first day of Eid, or it will be the second day of Eid. It will be the first day of Eid, or it will be the second day of Eid, so we can't have a program on the 13th. We won't have a program on the 20th, we won't have a program on the 27th. Then the following program will be on the 4th of October. Monday, Tuesday, no, 5th of October, sorry. So just put that in your diary. Next week we will have a program, and then there will be a break of 3 weeks, and then the following program will be on the 5th of October. Time has to be announced by Mawlana Akram. I don't know what time Isha will be. If we are going to have the program after Isha or before Isha, we will decide that close to the 5th of October. Inshallah, we'll make a dua. Any questions? Inshallah, we make dua. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa la'aqibatu lil muttaqin was salatu was salamu ala rasulihil kareem. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة. اللهم إنا نسألك تمام العافية ودوام العافية والشكر على العافية. Ya Allah, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, forgive all our minor and all our major sins. Ya Allah, grant each one of us a life of taqwa, a life of righteousness, a life of sifat aliyah, a life of akhlaq hamida, a life of iman and yaqeen, a life of a'mal salihah, a life that is pleasing to you. Ya Allah, a life that draws your rahmah. Ya Allah, a life that draws your blessings. Ya Allah, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, grant each one of us the best of both worlds. Ya Allah, grant each one of us hayatan tayyibah. Ya Allah, make our future better than our past. Ya Ghani, Ya Mughni, make us ghani in deen and make us ghani in dunya. Ya Allah, enrich us in deen and enrich us in dunya. Ya Allah, do not allow us to experience destitution in deen and do not allow us to experience destitution in dunya. Ya Allah, grant us richness in all facets of life, in all faculties of life. Ya Allah, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, you are our Hadi. Ya Allah, guide us every step of our journey. Ya Allah, guide us to your good pleasure. Ya Allah, guide us to the valleys of A'mal Salihah. Ya Allah, guide us to the valleys of righteousness. Ya Allah, guide us to the valleys of birr. Ya Allah, guide us to the valleys of the Muqarrabeen. Ya Allah, guide us to Jannatul Firdaus bighayri hisab. Ya Allah, before death, at the time of death and after death, Ya Allah, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, have mercy upon us. Ya Allah, allow us to depart with complete faith. Ya Allah, allow us to enter Alim Barzakh with complete faith. Ya Allah, allow us to stand with complete faith in Alim Akhirah. Ya Allah, allow us to succeed in Haququllah. Ya Allah, allow us to succeed in Haquq al-Ibad. Ya Allah, place the ledger of deed on our right hand. Ya Allah, allow us to drink from the fountain of Kawthar, from the blessed hands of Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Allah, guide us to Jannatul Firdaus bighayri hisab. Ya Allah, have mercy and raham and karam upon the entire ummah of Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Allah, pardon the ummah of Nabi Kareem Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Allah, unite the Muslim world on the platform of Iman and Amal Salih. Ya Allah, those that are dhalim, Ya Allah, grant them hidayah. Ya Allah, if hidayah is not in their destiny, treat them as you will. Ya Allah, those that are madloom, Ya Allah, come to their nusra. Ya Allah, come to their rescue. Ya Allah, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, all those brothers and sisters that are spiritually or physically sick, Ya Allah, grant all of them shifa'i kamila, ajila, mustamirra. Ya Allah, Ya Arhamar Rahimeen, all those brothers and sisters that have passed away, Ya Allah, shower your mercy upon them, pardon them, forgive them. Ya Allah, make their qubur gardens of paradise. Ya Allah, in this Mubarak majlis of your kalam, the understanding of your kalam, whatever we have asked for, if it is favorable, Ya Allah, grant it to us. Ya Allah, if it is not favorable, grant that is favorable. Ya Ghafur Rahim, if there is something that we have asked for that we should not ask for, or the method in which we have asked is disrespectful, incorrect, Ya Ghafur Rahim, pardon us. Ya Kareem, if there is something that we should ask for that we have not asked for, Ya Kareem, grant it to each one of us. Ya Allah, accept all our supplications. Ya Allah, fulfill all our permissible needs. Ya Allah, safeguard us from all worries, all ibtila, all musibats and all sicknesses. Ya Halim, Ya Alim, Ya Ali, Ya Azim. استجب دعاءنا واشف مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين وارحم موتانا. يا غافر الذنب اغفر لنا. يا قابل التوب اقبل توبتنا. يا شديد العقاب لا تعاقبنا. يا ذا التوب تل علينا بالخير. يا غافر يا غفار يا غفور رحيم، اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولجميع مشائخنا ولجميع أحبابنا ولجميع المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم.